It's me, it's him, it's TIM. Once again, here with First Comics News. We are at AFM, and I found the man, the myth, the legend with Dinosaur Rumblings. We are sitting here. I'm with Brett, and we are going to learn all about what brings them to AFM and what they're doing here. So, how many movies are you pitching this week?
So this week we're pitching two films, one for pre-distribution called Ticket, an American Civil War film about a Ticket based off a true story where he, after the end of the Civil War, being a part of the losing side, the Confederacy, he had to walk home on foot with a wounded leg to a wife that thinks he's dead, and the only thing that keeps him going is the letters of fallen soldiers that basically maintains his sanity and reading as he tries to get home.
The fascinating part about that grips me immediately is that you're taking it from the side of the Confederacy, you know?
Yeah.
That's very, very interesting.
Well, what's interesting about it is, like I said, it's based on a true story. The script is written by a descendant of Ticket, well, technically Ticket's half-brother Alcide. But the reason it makes it so interesting is a lot of people view that, and I want to be very clear, I'm not advocating for the Confederacy or their ideology, but a lot of people who fought in the Civil War on both sides didn't care about the ideology. They were just drafted. They were pawns in another politician's game in a civil war where people, much like the modern day political rhetoric, they're ramped up, they're partisan, they're like, screw those Northerners, screw those Confederates. And next thing you know, they're part of a battle just trying to, quote unquote, defend their home, not even knowing what that is. And that is part of the struggle of the story, is realizing that you fought on the loser. And not only the loser, but the morally wrong. Like, there's a part of the film, we actually filmed our test footage, and you can see some of the storyboards here, where he encounters, as he's trying to scrounge for food, a runaway slave. But he actually helps the slave hide away and get through the night because he doesn't care about slavery. He didn't own slaves. He came from a poor family. He just cares about getting home to the wife he loves.
Wow, and that's the one that you're in pre-production on.
Distribution for.
But you currently have, I don't know much about the history, so there's another finished feature that you have here as well?
There's a finished feature. It's called, it's a documentary called Dead People, Crazy People, Drugs, and Politicians. And I understand that's an absurd title, but the story is absurd itself. So I am from Louisiana. I don't know if the camera can see this, but go Tigers. And in Louisiana, there's a parish I actually grew up in called St. Tammany Parish. And in this parish that we're known in the legal circles as St. Slaminy due to the horrific injustices caused by our police department and other government officials, there was a coroner named Peter Galvin. And he exploited Article 5 of the Louisiana Constitution to set his own wage, which was very modest. Only the highest paid salary of any government official in the entire United States, with the exception of the president. That, of course, for a very small town makes sense. He was having weight requirements for his secretaries, whom he was all having affairs with. He was having crawfish boils at the coroner's office, and your typical white-collar crimes were happening. Now, this went on for some time until a woman by the name of Laura King was appointed to his office, and she sees the gross embezzlement. And she's a scientist. So she likes things being written down, procedures being followed. So she complains. They realize she's not going to play ball, so they ask her to do something illegal. They ask her to spend grant funds, something it's not allocated for. And when she refuses to do it, they fire her. Her husband is pissed. He's like, screw this guy. So he tries to sue him. It doesn't work. He tries to go to the FBI. No one believes him at all because it sounds crazy. The coroners run around with Lambos, buying plants for the office. So they start investigating them as private citizens. And not only do they find enough evidence, just as private citizens, no help of the police or the FBI or anything, to get the coroner, but they find in their investigation that the coroner is in cahoots with the local sheriff, who is running a pedophile sex ring out of the sheriff's office, where he forces children as young as 6 years old to have sex with animals. He's also letting criminals out of jail to kill people for him, as well as for sexual favors. And he was putting people in cages, holding cells, without evidence, without trial, that were too low to stand in, but too narrow to sit in. And he would just spray them with water, shoot rubber bullets at the inmates. He also was misusing funds from a work release program, a program meant to help people coming out of jail to readjust society, defrauding the program to embezzle money. And thankfully, Terry King, just this private citizen, said, I've had enough of this. If the authorities won't work with me, we'll do it ourselves. They made a concerned citizens of St. Tammany. They did internal audits just as citizens, and they went to the FBI with so much evidence they couldn't deny it, and it led to the arrest of 35 different politicians implicated in their crimes.
I don't know what to say. Wow. First off, I'm kind of surprised I never heard about this.
I lived there my entire life, and I did not hear this until I met the man who took him down, Terry King. And quite frankly, I didn't believe him until I researched it, and like you was like, how did I not hear about this?
Did you have some good meetings? Where's it going? I want to see it. So at this point, did you screen it this week?
We had 3 screenings at the Brendan Theater here at the American Film Market. Yeah, and we're excuse me, we're in talks with Fathom Events about possible theatrical release. We're going to try to get Mr. King himself on a bunch of podcasts because we think this would be perfect for so many different podcasts. I'm sure you can imagine some of them to try to generate buzz. We also have a few distributors. Due to NDAs and such, I can't say too much about the deals, but they're very interested in the film.
Wow. All right, brother. Well, thank you. I'm really excited about all this, and I want to talk to a couple other members of your team. AFM, is this your first time, or have you been here before?
No, this is my first time, but to give you a great segue to the next member of my team, Drew Cookenmaster. I was in college, like set out Full Sail, and I had all these crazy ideas like all creatives do. And I met this man named Drew Cookenmaster, who is our expert, our in-house expert for distribution and marketing, and who also owns a marketing company in Kentucky named Smoke Marketing. He told me in college, Brett, I don't give a blank about art. I'm here to make money. And he's like, I know you can make good art. And he said, one day we're going to go to this thing called the American Film Market. And our original plan has since changed a little bit of how we're doing as we research the film market more. But here we are 8 years later, and we're here, and we're talking to the big boys with big projects, and it's just so great to see our dreams come true.
Sounds to me like no dinosaurs, but lots of rumblings. We'll talk to his partner a little bit. It's me, it's him, it's TIM with First Comics News. I'm here at the American Film Market, and I'm talking to another member of the team. You are the numbers man, yes?
Yeah, so I am...
Drew, it's good to meet you.
Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you, Tim. I'm kind of the numbers and quality control guy here at Dinosaur Rumblings.
Well, then how did I get in?
We must have slipped, a little lapse. I'll probably have to be fired after this. But
It was a good run.
Yeah.
How long have you been working with the Dinosaur Rumblings team?
So nigh a decade. I have some creative bones in my body, but most of it is, just boring as hell. I see a lot of people who are great creatively, but they have no idea how to make money out of what they do, which is kind of sad because 90% of the people who go to film school end up waiting tables or going into insurance sales or whatever. And so I thought to myself, how on earth do I cut out the middleman? What is the business of film? How do things, once they're made, how does money made? And I learned about the AFM, and I was trying to get in with some of the people and, make them think that I was cool. I really had no idea what the AFM was. So I'm like, oh yeah, we'll go to the AFM. I'm the person that you would want to go to sell this because I know everything about the AFM, which, was, bunch of malarkey. But, I knew the word. Until 10 years later, Brett brings me on a commercial shoot. It happens to be for the book Dead People, Crazy People, Drugs, and Politicians.
There's a book?
There is a book. It's actually based off of a book.
There's not a book. Nobody makes a book with that. Gosh darn it. What in the heck?
I just love this military guide on taking down corrupt politicians. Which really it ends up being because he's got this neat table in the back. Where is it here? Of all of the people that he took down and their crimes: human trafficking, fraud, all sorts of stuff
Related to this
murder,
case.
rape, yeah. And he's still going after people. Anyway, I get a call from Brett, and he actually shows up at my door in Kentucky. I run a marketing company in Kentucky. And I hadn't seen this guy. I mean, we had talked, but I hadn't seen him for like 4 years. And he shows up at my door, and he's like, I need you to get a plane ticket next week because we're going to shoot a commercial for this guy to help him sell his book. I'm like, okay. And my wife gets home, and she's like, oh, Brett's here. And I said, so, honey, I'm going to go for a week to Louisiana. And she surprisingly took it rather well. And I went down there, and he's like, I drove, and he's like, read the book on the way there. So I'm listening to an audio book, and I'm just like, this is wild. So we do the small commercial for him, and we both sit down, and we're like, why hasn't this been turned into a documentary? Because this really has potential to go somewhere. And so kind of passed the quality control, and he's like, you know how to take this to the AFM. Remember you told me? And I'm like, oh, crap. He's calling me out. And so, I wasn't going to back down. So, for a month straight, I said, what the heck is this AFM thing? How do I get in? All right, so we sold the product to our client. We're going to make a documentary, and we're going to make this distribute nationwide. I'm very fortunate to be a member of several chambers of commerce in Kentucky and a member of the Kentuckiana Real Estate Investors Association. I'm on their board of directors as the public relations guy. And so I come back and I have a sit down with the incredibly talented Renee Buster, and I'm just shaking my head. And I said, Renee, I don't know how I'm going to afford this. I don't know how I'm going to get to the AFM. If we want to do everything right, it's going to cost close to $100,000. After exhibitors' fees, you pay enough where you can take people out and, give them whatever they want. Appropriate materials, being able to pay to finish up the documentary. And she gives me a call the next day, and he's like, hey, I have 2 people who are interested in investing in film. And I'm like, really? In Kentucky? Yeah, absolutely. So we meet, we have a setup meeting with one of our investors, and we had planned a meeting space in Louisville, and I had him fly out, and they called us the next day, and they said, I'm sorry, we double booked your meeting space. You can't have the meeting space anymore. And they told us maybe about 20 minutes before the investor was supposed to show up. And I'm like, holy cow, what are we going to do? Well, there was a library next door, and so I'm like, okay, well, usually libraries have meeting spaces. We can meet there. Every single meeting space was filled up. And the guy calls me, and he's like, well, I'm about 5 minutes away. Where should I go? I'm like, well, come on to the library. I'm still trying to figure out something. And the only place that we can find that's empty is the children's section of the library. And it's got like the 14 and under, you can't be here, or 14 and over, you can't be here. This is for children only kind of thing. So we sweep that and the Legos aside.
Just go to the dinosaur section.
We went to the dinosaur section. We sweep all the stuff aside. We've taken all of our posters and we set it up. And he comes in and we just say, well, part of entertainment is whimsy, and so here we are in the children's section of the Louisiana Public Library. We want to talk to you about these films. And he was actually rather impressed with what we had, and so he agreed to sign the check and send us on our way. And so we're very grateful to that, and here we are. We've actually made the connections. We've done our due diligence. When you hear Dinosaur Rumblings, it's like, okay, is this a children? Is this a B-tier movie company? But no, we've gotten great compliments that we're well prepared, that we're just as legitimate as someone with 30 films. And I have to say that's very exciting. We're happy to make our money back for our investors.
Well, I think it's great, and you seem like you know what you're doing, and you like this, and you got a heck of a team together. So
come back year after year.
Yeah. I'm gonna hold you to that. If I come here next year and you're not here, 5 years from now you're not here, I'm gonna show a clip and say, what happened with those guys?
Oh, gracious. Well, I think that this is just the beginning for us. We have collected so many stories that we're probably going to come back next year instead of 2, maybe 5 or 6, ready to go.
It's me, it's him, it's TIM, Tim Chizmar with First Comics News. Here we are at the American Film Market, and I am with the third member of the Dinosaur Rumblings team, Everett. Everett, what is your position with the team? What do you champion?
I am their attorney, so I champion them hopefully not breaking laws.
It's got to be easy. Well, actually, I did hear a story about one of them, so I don't know.
This was before I knew him, and had I represented him at that time, well, maybe I wouldn't have. I don't know. I don't think I had any money at that time. But
So on the legal side, what are some of the legal aspects you have to keep in mind when doing a film?
well, film stuff from a legal standpoint is mostly contract work and keeping them from breaking laws. You know, here in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas unless, of course, you are incarcerated. Then you stay in Vegas. But anyway, that's just a bit of a stupid lawyer joke. Anyway, it's honestly pretty boring. I'm not sure why I'm being interviewed, but
Oh, everybody has a story. So, for starters, you could be doing anything. Why even be involved in this project?
well, that's an excellent question, Tim. When your clients say, "Hey, would you like to come to Las Vegas for a week and we pay for it?" It's a pretty easy question to answer. Yes, I'm definitely going to do that thing. So.
Have you met some interesting people over the week?
I have absolutely met. Look, I thought that I was going to come here and feel a little bit out of my element as an attorney as opposed to a filmmaker. And even though I have a lot of friends in the film industry back home in Louisiana, I was sitting in here just. They've got so many meetings they had to run around and talk to other people, so I found myself here pitching films. And that's kind of interesting. I think I got pretty good at it at the end of the day. But so I'm sitting in here thinking I'm just going to be talking movies. And then this other gentleman comes in and he's like, it's a lawyer and a judge. And this lawyer and the judge out of Texas, they've also got a film company. So now we're talking about collaboration on a future project. They want to make horror films. They want to make, interestingly enough, a pre-Civil War movie about the abolitionist John Brown. So it's like, well, we could probably help you with that. We're making this other Civil War movie. And it's just like, what are the odds of that? What are the odds of that? So we share some lawyer war stories, talk about corrupt judges, segues into the Dead People, Crazy People documentary. It's interesting how all these things come together.
Where are you? I mean, I don't know if you're involved in those talks, but I'm thinking this would lead its way into legal. Do you know where you're thinking about shooting it? Where you're thinking about filming it?
It depends on the film we're talking about, but Tiquette is an interesting movie because it is set in Louisiana. You know, it features a Louisiana main character that, of course, gives us access to all the Louisiana incentive programs for filming there. Being a 100% Louisiana-based project, it should be pretty lucrative.
Okay, yeah, because anytime it's a period piece, you got to involve things of that era, of that time. You don't want to say it's the Civil War and then you see a car, you know?
No, absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, some of these uniforms behind us, some of these uniforms, like, again, the way things line up in life is so interesting because we have friends that are, like one of my good friends' father is heavily involved in the Civil War reenactment community. So we're able to source some of these period-correct uniforms for the marketing for this and just have those shipped out here, which is really incredible.
That's great. As somebody from the outside coming into film, what is one thing that people might not know or not expect about the world behind the scenes of filmmakers, filmmaking? What's something that they might not know about?
I think it's actually really interesting to see how many different types of people are here. How many people have gotten, it's actually almost weirdly like being a lawyer because there are people who have careers prior to going to law school and they change their mind. You know what, I have a passion, I want to be a lawyer. And I've met a whole bunch of people this week that have had careers prior to this, like that judge. He's actually still a judge. It's not even a prior career, it's a current career. And other people have had other completely lucrative careers who have just decided, you know what, I have a passion for this, I want to make films. So you've got people who are here from all kinds of different backgrounds, all kinds of different areas of expertise, have all kind of wildly different ideas at all kinds of stages of production and quality, but they're all here and they're shooting for the moon. It's pretty great to see.
Since I spent time with both of the other gentlemen, and they're not here right now, is there anything you want to tell about them on camera? Since they're not here, anything you want to say?
Unfortunately, it's all protected by attorney-client confidentiality.
All right. Well, I thought I would try. All right. Thanks for sitting with me. This is awesome. Dinosaur Rumblings. I'm excited. I love the stories and the passion and the enthusiasm, and they're actually smart about it. How many people out there have a part of this, but they don't have the full package? They have this idea. They have this movie, but they have it down to a business and a science, and I'm excited, and I think anybody who's wise would want to work with you guys, and they got a heck of a lawyer. So thank you for sitting with me, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey!
What? Oh, hi. Hey, everybody.
The director and star of Nudes of Noodleland. What is it? No, did I get it right?
Noodles of Noodland. But,
Noodles of Noodland.
I'm glad you're a
Okay.
big fan.
Tim Chizmar, comedian, the naked comedian,
True.
my friend. I'm not just going to say thank you on the stream. That's not enough. I have to do it in person. So I sought you out to in person thank you so much.
Wow.
So generous, and I cannot thank you enough. And I wanted to save it for in person. And here's the thing: I admire Tim. He doesn't let obstacles get in his way. Other filmmakers are like, "Oh, I got this." No, you got to commit to it and do it. And Tim has done that. Well, let me tell you something right now, because you meet all kinds of people here at AFM. There are people watching this like, oh, I'm thinking about doing a movie. Oh, I work a day job. I'm not sure if I should make a film. And they make up excuses. You are so-called disabled, and you don't let your excuses get in the way at all. Here, come on, Tim.
Of course,
wait,
brother.
wait. You've got the.
I do. I got my mic.
You're like,
So I was doing my own
yeah,
interview.
it looks like you're serious. Kentucky was giving out some candy. I think I'm gonna get
Are
more.
they giving out KFC?
They are getting out.
Kentucky
Yeah.
Fried Chicken.
Look at this. A little Purell and lip balm combo.
And it says
I love
here,
it.
not from Diddy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no. 30% cash rebate. So if you go there, you spend like, look at this. Yeah. If you go there, they will give you 30% back for your project. And you'll get unlimited bourbon dark chocolates. I'm going to take some for a friend. You do a taste test. Okay, Tim,
Right now.
I want to see the taste test.
Because I asked her, does it taste like bourbon? That's what I'm
It
curious
does.
about.
No, it's the actual bourbon.
Yeah.
It's actual bourbon. It's not candy.
Do it.
It's bourbon.
This is what's going to happen.
Okay.
Oh, oh.
Take it like a shot, the whole thing.
Do
All
it.
at once. Pop it. There you go.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
That's like a
Yeah.
shot.
Yay, Poland.
Hey,
And
thank you.
Barbados.
Thank you. I told you I wanted to thank you in person. I want to thank you in person.